Hello. Good morning. Welcome in to another episode of Good Morning Nasdaq right here on the Clover Trading YouTube channel. It is, by definition, the 29th day of July, year of our Lord 2025. We have Kyle with us today. We were running the show alone yesterday. We were just out in the world by ourselves, floating in the wind, but we got it done. Talked through a couple gappers. I don't think there was anything special. Vape kind of had like a weird, just choppy day after that crazy pre-market move.
What happened to that yesterday? Just kind of chopped around.
Yeah, when it goes from like 5 to 180 in pre-market, can't expect a ton of range. But yeah, we got a few gappers on watch today, a couple over 100%. We'll talk through those. Just want to welcome you guys in. We got Warren in here, Wing, Randy, Tom, Mash for Fun, Turk. Good morning. Good morning. Make sure you go ahead and hit that thumbs up button for us. If the early birds, we usually have half the crowd comes in the first 10 or 15, then the other half the last 5. And I got to ask again, but if you kind of show them that this is a stream where we just hit the like button by getting that number into the 20s or 30s real early, it will incentivize them to do the same. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're posting more often, more frequently, more videos right now. So go ahead, check that out on the channel once we're done here. We'll be live again tomorrow morning for some live trading with Kyle at 9:15 a.m. So just kind of letting you know the schedule. Couple days left in July, Kyle. Got today, tomorrow, and Thursday, and then the weirdest thing ever, starting a new month on a Friday. How are we feeling? What do we see out there?
Feeling good. I would say that this week I have noticed a shift in comparison to last week. Last week felt really good. A lot of plays worked. But this week, it's not that plays haven't worked this week. It's only, we're only on day 2, right? But I didn't take a trade yesterday. Like I physically did not have P&L.
Not physically.
Yeah, literally. Mentally, no. Physically, maybe. But all of July, I have some kind of trade I have to mark down. But yesterday I did not, which for me is a shift. Normally there should be at least one trade for me, and there wasn't. So we'll see how the day goes. We'll see how the rest of the week goes. A lot of people are expecting or anticipating a pullback in the overall markets, which may or may not happen. Eventually, it's going to happen, right? Nothing goes straight up, nothing goes straight down. But I feel like most participants are slightly aware of that, and I think that's causing somewhat of a shift. But it could be wrong. We'll see. The net indexes are gapping up again. This is also not to go on a tangent, but remember how we said this is now this is probably at the we're at like day 65 without the Qs touching or closing below the 20 SMA. We are now on day 23 or 24 where the Nasdaq has not moved at least 8% up or down. So that means
hasn't gone 1%.
It hasn't gone up or down 1%. That's how little volatility there's been. It's been slowly grinding at less than 1% a day. So eventually we're due for some rubber band snapping kind of thing. So
wouldn't be surprised. Late summer, it's been an incredible move. And I don't know, with your swing trading, have you noticed that the more this goes up, your other stocks aren't necessarily following? It's just kind of in its own little land, or there's still a good amount of sympathy.
This has been the first environment where I've seen this little volatility, and so far what I've learned is that's ideal because that's when swings are moving kind of irrelevant of the indexes. How we like small caps because they just don't care what the indexes do. Mm-hmm. When the indexes are in this no man's land because they're going up, but they're in this low volatility grinding up action. That's when the swing kind of do what they want, and typically they're typically bullish. At least in this environment, they are. So I've learned to actually like that the most. So I think that it turns into ideal swing trading environment.
Very cool. All right, we got a couple gappers we'll talk about. If you're new around here, you can post a question or two, and if I see it with my eyes, I read it with my mind, and I say it out loud, we will answer it. So don't be afraid to put those in the live chat. Someone's asking if we still do boot camps. We've done, 4 or 5 over the past couple years now?
Yeah.
We generally do one a year. And we did our last one in LA in March. I believe it was March
this year.
Market was in turmoil, right? And here we are now, right? Kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just got to be aware. Just keep an eye on our socials. Keep an eye on our on these streams, and we'll let you know if there is an upcoming one. Turk as a question for Kyle. I myself have a MacBook, and I've always used E-Trade Pro for software level 2. What software do you use for level 2 DOS Trader Pro? If you do use Parallels to run this?
Or Parallels.
Oh.
So I tried that back in 2019, and Parallels was awful. I have heard since then they've gotten very good. So I would be open to giving them a shot, but when I used them in 2019, I mean it was very quickly obvious that this isn't going to work. And so that was actually the first time it forced me to buy a Windows laptop because I no longer could trade on my MacBook. So I literally went out that week, bought a MSI laptop, and I don't have that specific MSI laptop, but I still have an MSI laptop to this day. I'm guessing because
Same one?
E-Trade Pro is...
No, you got a new one.
Yeah, I got a new one, but same exact style, same exact kind of specs, if you will. And yeah, I imagine you're asking because good old Morgan Stanley is doing themselves a disservice by getting rid of E-Trade Pro.
I saw Gratani tweeted about it, and
I haven't even looked into the online thing, but I'm scared.
Something in clunky, old and clunky is what the new software looks like, and I think they're gonna. I don't know how much real business they'll lose from traders, like what percent of their portfolio or money is that, but I can see that a lot of people switching to something else because that platform is just so not modern. The new one, like, it is horrible. Like,
yeah, which is not what you.
I don't even want modern. Like, just give me E-Trade Pro classic charts. Like, I've been trying to train my eyes by using DOS charts only and like Weeble a little bit, like as my main thing. Because what I normally do is just make a watch list and stuff using the E-Trade charts, and that's what my brain. When I have issues, I look at that chart, and it's so easy for me to just find a 5-day, 5-minute. Like, there's no scrolling on the classic charts. Like, I don't like scrolling. And if I click on something, it shows me the entire day. I don't have to zoom out to get to all the candles from today. There's just it's a sad day. Like, and I've been struggling this past week of trying to like get my eyes to adapt to the new. And I've always told you this, like, I can't trade on DOS. I can't trade on DOS. Like,
yeah, you don't like it.
It's all right. We'll figure it out, guys.
Well, yeah, we'll survive. But
all right.
Essentially, yes. Try Parallels.
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 Biggest gap of the day is DRRX up 265%.
Let's look.
Oh, what's happening here? I don't think it is.
Bush Health to acquire silver or liver drug developer Jurek for $175 a share. So we're talking a buyout. Although for $175 a share and it's sideways at 2, which is actually kind of odd, but it is a buyout. So we're gonna ignore this one.
Okay, so they yeah. So what? Whenever you see buyout or acquired, isn't there sometimes one of the? I don't know. Let me go to the chart. If you see this type of price action, usually, if it's going sideways at a price, check the news, see if there's something going on around that price. But it's usually just goes to the value that they were valued at, and there's not a ton of volatility. I've never really tracked these past the pre-market, so I wonder does it go sideways all day? Is there any trading on them? Like, I don't even.
I think there is volume, but it really does genuinely go sideways for most of the day.
Okay, so that's not going to count as the biggest gapper. Let's go to the next one. SLRX. Solarius Pharmaceuticals, 2.12 million float, biotech company out of the United States of America. Looks like they regained compliance 15 days ago with stockholders' equity standard. I don't see news right now. Do you see news today? It looks like 8K yesterday.
8K, and then let me double check. SLRX. Yeah, no, I don't see official PR. Interesting.
So they just got an extension. They need minimum bid requirement. What are they? Oh, they were under $1. Now they're not. Okay. Anything else going on here? Looks like they don't have any cash. Zero point 0.6 months of cash left. Everything is high across the board. Offering ability, overall risk, overhead supply. In
Very
progress in
little.
January 2025 offering. How can like something be in progress for like 8 months?
I don't know either.
Do you think they are pretty quick? They're usually pretty quick on those things.
Yeah, you think they get on with it. I don't. Maybe they're just saving it for like a day like today. I have no idea. But interesting.
Looks like a March 2025 ATM with like nothing left on it. Okay, and they got some shelves.
It's faded quite a bit already from 350 to 180, and I'm taking a brief look at the borrows, and the borrows are very expensive. Like, not worth the price range, at least for how I like to trade them, or what I'm willing to pay for a borrow. They are pricey, but someone will pay them clearly because they're going quickly.
Yeah, it looks like it got going in after hours yesterday, 70 cents to like $1.40, as high as the 350, 360 area this morning. Kind of, I guess, a breakout of this 135 area. Let's go back further on this chart. Looks like there was a pretty big move to start the year. Gap up from the 150s into the 4s, a run all the way to the 7s, and then ended up closing way lower than it opened. So a lot of wicks on big volume days to the sky. The most recent volume day has been kind of a gap and crap day that didn't really go anywhere on decent volume. So you got probably some bags potentially from that day in the low ones. And yeah, is a ton off its highs, but still up 140% right now. What kind of volume was it trading? Yeah. Pretty big move already from the long side. Really not that interested, not like drawing a line at this 130s area and saying, oh, that's a breakout. It traded enough volume and significant time well over that breakout level and into the threes. I would have been really happy if I was ever long on the stock and it went into the high twos or low threes. So really nothing from the long perspective. Still up a good amount. Is this something you'd look at for a gap and crapper?
It is. I totally think this probably closes lower than where it is. I'm not a huge fan that it's already sold off. Call it pretty much 50%, actually almost exactly 50% off the highs. Because it makes me think they can and do bounce sometimes, but some don't. I mean, some literally just I mean, you think selling 50% off the highs is a lot, and the next thing you know, they're down another 50% from 175. So, I'm not ruling it out. The biggest issue for me, like I just mentioned, is that the borrows are just too damn expensive. I rarely like paying more than 2% of the stock's price. Why that is, it's just a number I'm comfortable with. There's no science behind it. But, the cheapest borrow is like, I don't know, like 4%, 5% of the stock's price for me. And some is even more than that. Some is like 10% of the stock's price, if not more. So like, it's just, I mean, yeah, if in hindsight this thing is back down at like 70 cents, then sure, like I should have paid 17 cents to make $1. But like, if you lose, if you don't make that and you lose money, now you're just insult to injury. So I really don't love it. So I probably will end up avoiding it, but yeah. Good luck to those who have borrowed, because I do think this is going to probably fade in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, that's one of the things they don't talk about when they say, you want to be a long bias trader or a short bias trader. Sometimes even making a trade can come down to just the cost to make the trade. Commissions, borrow fees, all that good stuff definitely plays a role. And Kyle talks about that and answers questions on that kind of stuff all the time over in Clover. But that is SLRX, pretty much your biggest gapper of the day. How have gappers been doing lately in terms of fade control, we'll call it?
When I first got back from what's it called? From
Norwegian?
the honeymoon, they were great. I was like 5 for 5. Now all of them never gave me a full size winner. They were all kind of sub 1R. From a poor risk reward standpoint. So that was the downside. And then I took one full size loss last week, And then I haven't really traded them since. Not because a couple have showed up, but for whatever reason, whether like today it's borrows. The other day it was like I just didn't care. I thought that there wasn't going to move much, and I ended up being right. And then one was a crypto treasury, so like I'm going to avoid that. I haven't really traded them much in the last, call it 4 days, 5 days. So there's not a whole lot is happening in that department.
Yeah, and we kind of talked about this off stream. We've talked about it on stream. Just kind of like constantly gauging the market, and I think it's a fine line, right? Like I always say, like don't be predictive. Don't try to guess what's going to happen in the future. Like, oh, it's going to be a crazy market. Oh, it's going to be a slow market. Because you never really know, and I think sometimes having the wrong perspective can mess with you so many different ways emotionally, in terms of, you expect a really hot market and it's not there, and you end up taking a ton of not good opportunities and drawing down. Or if you expect the market to be horrible, so you downsize half of an hour, quarter of an hour, and it's the hottest market we've ever seen. But yeah, I just feel like overall right now, even when we had, well, I think a lot of people did really well over the last week or so. I know in our room, there was a lot of people nailing some breakouts, nailing some first red days, some extended stocks on the short side. But I was kind of hesitant to be like, oh, the market's like ripping and hot. And maybe it was, I think, for like gappers, like, Don Juan in the room's strategy. I think we've seen a ton of that over the past week. And those definitely are cyclical, where they just work and then they stop, and then they work and then they stop. But we've pretty much just been a couple tickers. It's not been like this slew of runners that have turned into actionable trades. It's just been being right on one or two stocks. I was in like a Sunday meeting with a couple buddies that trade, and someone was like, yeah, IXHL is like 80% of my month. Is that a problem? And I'm like, my style, it's not really a problem, but it almost just kind of, a laptop with the needle movers. You look at yours, or I've seen Lance have videos on it, just like a good chunk here. What do you have, the 80-20 rule? Is there something about that with?
There's the Pareto analysis, which is like so many things in life where like 80% of the results come from 20% of the work, so to speak. And it's not like your trading has to be that way, but I will track it only because when there are months that I do get 80-20, where I just happen to see that like the top 20 trades are 80% of my profits, I come to realize like in that month I was just efficient's not the right word, but like when you see that, you're like, wow.
What is
like
the number you
20.
want? Because you have it on your spreadsheet that's available at clovertrade.io.
Yes.
And I always do it, but I don't really even know what I'm looking at. But it's, I think because my number ends up being like 120, 150%. That means on my winners, I actually did so much better than all the other nonsense. Like,
right.
If you added all the other stuff up, I'm down from that number.
Yeah. That happens a lot for me too, where it's like, yeah, the top 20% of the winners are ended up being 150%, right? Like you said, of your months, which really means that you actually gave away. There were actually more losers that gave away some of that profit of those biggest trades, to where like if you didn't trade that, your month would technically be 50% bigger, right? Because
if you just found a way to only trade the big winners.
Yeah, which again, super hindsight, like it's easier said than done, and in many ways not really doable. But yeah, I do that so I see of like, well, how much am I really giving back, or the opposite flip of the coin, like how much are these bigger winners really moving the needle? When I first started trading, I used to feel very uncomfortable. I used to hate the fact that like one trade was my entire month, but now I've like accepted that being like the case. Like if I'm not doing that, now I'm like, wait, what's wrong? Like I really should be just looking for that one big, catch, and everything else just kind of washes itself out for the most part.
And it's weird how often that works out. It's definitely been the case for me pretty much all year, especially the last few months, where it's just been like one or two big trades, and then the rest, it just kind of ends up being like up and down, little drawdown, little win streak. But you never know what that one winner is going to be. And that's why you kind of have to have your head on your shoulders. And I talked about this in the video lesson I did last week, talking about breakout entries, is like, you can't afford to get too high or too low, because if you have 3 bad days in a row and you only have a week left in the month, you don't know, you can't make your month in those 3 or 4 days. Like, you don't know if the opportunity is going to be so good. As long as you execute, you'll get everything you want. But yeah, it's funny how that works out sometimes. Unless you're kind of like a hyper scalper or like a win rate trader, like gappers and stuff, you got to get used to the fact that it's why you got to let winners run. It's really important. I have a YouTube video out on that from a couple weeks ago if you want to check that out, how to hold longer and how important it is. Because like I don't know about you. You have a high enough win rate, so you would probably still be really profitable. There's a lot of times I wouldn't even be profitable if I don't have a 10-hour winner in my month. Like it's
Sure.
necessary for me. All right, couple questions. We'll get on out of here. Dom, have you traded the NVNI breakout at all? If so, how'd it go? I didn't. I don't know for the life of me. I have tracked it with Huddie. I have watched the chat from 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock at night for all these people that are buying gappers and swinging them overnight. It's a timing thing. I don't like to have a day wrapped up because like yesterday, I think I took like one trade in the morning. Like it was like quick, like in and out. I was like in NVTS and then lost on it. And like, I was like accepted. Okay, that's my P&L for the day. And then to get to 4 o'clock and like just like want to put a R of risk on for some reason is like really hard on me mentally. I don't know if that's just me. And I like the idea that I could just like make a day worse or take a green day and turn it red. Like, and I know it doesn't matter. The edge happens where the edge happens, but I really do struggle with like buying in the afternoon. But I sat there and I was like, I had my lines drawn. I was like 65 to 60 is kind of your level. And it pulled right back. And after I was right to that 65 level and then went, I would have been happy with 90. If you could risk 3 to 5 cents and you get 20 or 30 that quickly, and it's like a 50% move in like 10 minutes of after hours. And it ended up being the highs. It hasn't gone higher since. So you kind of have a mix of like the gapper strategy as well as a breakout on the daily chart over the 75 area. It is holding that right out of the gate. Volume is kind of low right now. I will be watching this. That's kind of what I said in my watch list. If it didn't gap up into the dollars or whatever, I'd still keep an eye on it. I do think there's some resistance from the after hours, but if we kind of top out right out of the gate at 75, pull back and set some sort of range, I will give that a try. So I haven't traded it yet, but I do think there's a world where the money should have already been made from the 60s to the 90s. You have that problem? You're pretty good at buying in the afternoon. You're pretty just an even keel guy. I'm a roller coaster, and I just know my whole career has been this, just an acceptance of the fact that I am a mediocre trader. Like I have great results, but I'm a mediocre. Like I'm not born to do this or have some sort of special skill set. Like so I'm just like really aware of what gets me in a bad direction or what messes with my psyche or like what gets me towards tilt, and I'm like really hyper aware of that, and I just know that like. That can ruin a night for me, like buying a stock at 4 p.m. and losing an after hours. Like, even if it's an edge, like it just kind of messes me up.
Yeah, I used to be a big fan of swinging overnight. Like, well, it's so weird. Like, so it's not, and then not to bring back swing trading in it, but like once I started swing trading, I don't know if I stopped really caring for overnight day trades on like gap ups on breakouts. Either because I wasn't really focused on them. Like if your focus isn't there, like it's like you'll just miss it, right? You just won't see it. Or some of them I have seen, but I haven't wanted to deal with watching in after hours, which is so weird because if I'm swinging like mid cap or large caps, like clearly after hours goes on, but because they're a little bit more legitimate, like I don't have to worry about like they're going bankrupt or them delisting or them doing an offering, right? For the most part, like I don't really have to watch.
You don't really expect them to even go up that much either, so.
Yeah, and with I don't know, with penny stocks, I've just like man, I ask myself, do I really have to or want to watch this in after hours for the next 4 hours?
Didn't you try with HCTI the other day? And it was like
I did,
right away you lost it
immediately. Yeah, if I walked away the first 10 minutes of the after hours, like you're down. It's as if it had an offering. It didn't. It just cracked 50% for no reason at all, and then came back the next day. But like, yeah, unless I'm very uber confident that I don't need to watch or I even need to slightly watch, I tend to not really want to deal with it anymore.
That's the thing for me is like on the day-to-day ones of just like, watching the 3 potential ones that fit criteria, like which one am I going to gap? Like I struggle with like, do I really want to be like 3 of them like that? I can barely do one. Like, am I really going to sit here and watch 3 of them and manage 3 new positions, like, and take losses? Like it's like a whole nother day of trading. Like if you are actually on top of it and there's 3 to 5 of them that qualify at the end of the day, like you're starting the day over with like a potential 3 to 5 hour loss. Like,
right.
And I know you can probably manipulate it. And I know Don Juan does a good job of like in and out until he gets the position he wants. Like when it starts to trend, because some look so easy, it makes you feel dumb the next morning when we show up. You're like, what? It's up 80%. But there's a lot that fail, and there's a lot that are tricky that like kind of over under the important levels in after hours, and then still gap up or gap down. But I don't like waking up at 4 a.m. either, like to check on my phone and then start the day like half awake, like angry. That's annoying too.
And And that's the thing with me. And like, consider this my entire career, which I have the risks I have taken. Like, if I'm taking something overnight, I don't wake up at 1 a.m. Western or Pacific time. Like, I am waking up roughly the same time, so that's even a bigger risk. Like, it's one thing for me to watch after hours. It's another thing for me to have to trust it so much that I'm going to go blind for practically the first 4 hours of pre-market and then get to my desk like 8 a.m. 8:30 a.m. Eastern. Like, and oddly enough, like, that has worked. Like, I have been in more safer situations or more winning trades than not. But like, just consider that for like a level of risk I have to take, which is like just kind of letting Jesus take the wheel in for the first 4 hours.
It's either a great thing or I will sometimes purposely, if I'm in one that I have a cushion on, like I did this with IXHL last Monday. Like I was in a good spot. It was gapping up in after hours, and I was like, and I play this game. I'm like, because they're always either like up a ton at 4 a.m. or they're not up a lot at 4 a.m. Then they run into 7, 8 a.m. And it's always like if I see it and it's up when I wake up, I'm going to sell it. So I have to time exactly when I wake up and look at it for the first time and just kind of gamble on when is it going to be the highest. And I think at that one, I was like, I'm going to do 546 and I'm going to give it an hour and 46 or I'm not going to watch it. And it ended up being like right as it was kind of breaking into like 90 cents and it worked out. But yeah, I will. If I wake up at 4, I'll sit there and watch all morning, and I don't want to do that. So, a couple questions, rapid fire. We'll get out of here. I got a webinar today at 11. Looking forward to that. So hopefully we get some movement today and some good questions for that. Rapid fire. Someone said thoughts on MCVT. Here you go. Hasn't done anything. It has done things, but like, what has it done for me? Ran from like 2 to 8. Kind of had an overextended gap up kind of yesterday, faded into the close or into previous close, and is now trying to have a first red day. Those are my thoughts. Quick one, Kyle. Ready? As a new trader, would you recommend to set a max number of trades a day, like 2 to 3, so I don't overtrade? And if nothing happens in the first hour of the day, then close the laptop on the day.
You shouldn't have that rule. A simple rule should be you should only trade if you have a setup. Period. And as a newer trader, you probably should only have 2, 3, maybe 4 setups like that, and that's
you
like
are so
it.
lenient. 2, 3, like 7's like on the higher side, but I'll let myself.
Like really, most people should be 1.
Yeah,
right?
I literally think find one edge, milk it, get your first 50K, make your first. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I only say that because maybe I'm biased. When I look back and I had 4 setups, I was a newer trader, but I had made my first 20
they
to
were
30K.
also like very niche based, right? It was like all OTC runners and
yeah, it was very excluded in kind of tunnel vision, even with those 4 I had. But like the point is whether you have 1 or 4, you should only be trading those. And regardless whether you have 1 or 4, you shouldn't really have more than maybe 2 trades a day, like max. So that alone right there should stop you, right? If you find yourself taking 5 trades a day and need to put in a rule like I shouldn't trade more than 3 times a day, like ask yourself, am I even trading setups? Because at that point, if you're just trading 5 times a day, I don't even trade 5 times a day. And I have like 10 setups. That just shows you they don't usually show up that often, right? Even all 10 of them don't show up every day. Maybe 2 show up every other day, and then it like evens itself out. So like think about that. Like ponder that for your own strategy and system, because you just shouldn't be trading that much.
And last question, how do you pick which stocks to trade? If you have like 5 hot trades, do you have a way of just picking 1 or 2? And Salimas comments, you're supposed to have criteria. Stocks either fit or they don't. That's how you pick. Yeah. And again, I feel like you're just kind of missing that one little connection piece. Like trading is boiled down for us to like have a setup, scan for that setup every single night, put that list together every single night, and have a list of 3 to 5 that I'm watching, and then market open which of those are still fitting that criteria and fitting that plan that are ideal for an entry around key resistance or support levels, or actually triggering a pattern. I don't have 5 stocks on my watch list and go, you know what, random dart IXHL today, and we're gonna miss the others. It's if 5 all trigger for a pattern, I'm gonna trade all 5. If 1 does, I'll trade the 1. It's not about it's just not hot stock. Like you even said it in there. Like it's if we have 5 hot trades, I don't temperature rate my trades. They're all cold until proven hot. So it's have a setup, focus on the criteria, and be robotic in that. Like Kyle was just mentioning, like you don't have to think as much as you are. Like find a setup, learn it like the back of your hand, and then look for it in the market and execute when it's there. And that should probably put you in the 2 to 3 max trades per day area.
Yep.
All right, 9:23. We're going to get on out of here. We're going to go over to the Clover room right now and see if there are any trades for this morning. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate the questions. We'll be live again tomorrow morning, 9:15 a.m. And yeah, if you want to hang out with us at 11 a.m. for a webinar, it'll be with me today. You can join over at clovertrading.io. We do multiple webinars every week, and we have an archive collection of hundreds of them, hundreds of hours of content there. So clovertrading.io for all your trading education needs. We will see you guys tomorrow. Have a wonderful, fantastic